Also today, Hamas militants fired a barrage of rockets at Israel shortly after midnight. Israeli officials now say they expect the war to extend through much of 2024. But they're also reducing the number of troops in Gaza. The CBC's Tanya Fletcher joins us now from Washington. Tanya, what more should we know about this reduction in troops?
Well, Neil, Israel used New Year's Day to announce plans to shift tactics and cut back on the number of troops. Israel says the war in Gaza, as you said, has many months to go yet, but did signal this new phase in its offensive. An Israeli official said the military will draw down forces inside Gaza this month and shift to a months-long phase of more localized or, quote, mopping up operations, as they put it. Now, that same official said the troop reduction would allow some reservists to return to civilian life and free up units in case of a wider conflict in the north with Hezbollah in Lebanon. Now, this comes as some of the Israeli communities north of the Gaza Strip, as you mentioned, that were evacuated after the October 7th attack by Hamas, will soon be able to return home. And meanwhile, the White House says President Joe Biden, who's currently vacationing in St. Croix, and Vice President Kamala Harris both spoke with national security officials today by phone about the latest developments in the Middle East.
And Tanya, I understand there's been a major development in Israeli politics as well. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, Israel's Supreme Court has struck down a key component of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's contentious judicial overhaul. The highly disputed law was passed by Netanyahu's right-wing government earlier this year, and that triggered nationwide protests, you may remember. The change would have rolled back some of the High Court's powers, limiting the power of the Supreme Court in overturning laws that it deemed unconstitutional. Well, today, 8 of 15 judges ruled in favor of nullifying that law. In its summary of the decision, the Supreme Court said the law was ultimately struck down because it would severely damage Israel's democracy. And this decision today threatens to reignite the fractures within the country that were there even before this war with Hamas in October. Those divisions have largely been put aside while the country focuses now on the war. But in response to today's court decision, Netanyahu's party said it was unfortunate, this decision, and that it opposed, quote, the will of the people for unity, especially during wartime. Neil.
Thank you, Tanya. The CBC's Tanya Fletcher reporting in Washington.